All right. I know that it is a Sunday and folks are probably enjoying their weekends, and I wanted to make sure that we started on time so that we can end on time so that I can also enjoy my weekend. But I really wanted to record this on 111 just because I think it's a fun day and I really, really love repeating numbers. And so let's enjoy our 111 together. And whenever you watch this, it will be infused with the special 111 energy as we set our intentions for the next 12 months. And just as I said with the year in review class, this is work that you can do at any point when you want to reorient yourself, when you want to create a clean slate and a fresh start. And so, whether you're watching this in January or in June or, whenever you happen to be watching this, it is the perfect time to do this work. And this doesn't even have to be something that you do on an annual basis. You can do it every other year. Sorry, no. Well, you could do it every other year, but I was going to say you could do it like twice a year, like every 6 months. You could do it quarterly. You can do it however often you feel called to, but it is a beautiful, beautiful thing to do at the beginning of the year. And that is why I am recording this for you right now. So, with that, welcome, welcome, welcome. Take some time in your journal to set an intention. Ooh, we have someone joining. All right. Hello, hello. I was just saying, I feel like because it's Sunday, everyone is enjoying their weekend, but it's cool that you're able to be here. Um, the workshop is starting off in the same way that a lot of my other ones have started off. We're just going to set some intentions. And so sit and reflect on what brought you here, what led you to sign up for this in the first place, and what led you to click into the replay or attend the live or recording of this workshop. So I'll just give us like one intentional minute to check in with ourselves. And then I'm also going to grab my journal because I like to do this. I like to do these workshops alongside you guys. So give me one second. All right, that was our minute. I'm just writing a new title on my page, and then we will proceed. And if you want to drop your intention in the chat, you are more than welcome to, and then I can have that in mind as I'm teaching. And if anything comes to mind specific to your intention, then I will definitely weave and incorporate that in. And then for everyone who is joining us on the replay, make sure that you just take some time to set some intentions before we dive into this work, and you will be surprised at how your intentions unfold and come to fruition as either this workshop unfolds or as you go about your life afterwards. Okay, so for today, you will leave with a strong, compelling vision for the next 12 months. So that's going to be the first section of our class today. Then we will be breaking that vision down into clear, doable action steps that will help you bring your vision to life. So, a lot of the times people will come up with these visions, but then the visions either are very vague, and I will give you a very precise way to create your vision so that it's not vague, but either the visions are very vague, or because it's a 12-month vision, it just feels so far away that either you keep putting off taking action, or you are like, well, I don't even know what I would do because the gap between where I am and where my future self is so far. So that's kind of what we're going to be addressing in today's workshop. And I really do see and know that, like, for me and for my clients who really take this seriously, this makes a huge difference in how your manifestation unfolds and in your ability to actually create the life that you want. And so if you, for example, set your intentions last year and you were looking back at them and you're like, oh my God, my intent, none of them came true, or like some of them came true, but some of them didn't, and it feels kind of random. This is how you will address that. And this really is the process by which you can create whatever your vision is. And then if you're working with multiple visions, because I teach across life areas, as you saw with the year in review, if you have multiple visions, it will also be part of your work to break up each vision into your action steps. And then you will need to kind of schedule yourself so that you can manage your time and take your action steps across each vision. And if that's something that you need support with, then you know how to find me, and I would be happy to coach you through your specific process. But for today, we are going to be creating the vision in a strong and compelling way, and then breaking that vision down into doable action steps that will ultimately add up and bring your vision to life. And then I'm also going to give you guidance on how to use the resources in Moody and Magnetic to build on this work. So, some of the modules in the courses, and of course, we have the coaching calls and we have the email coaching, but some of the modules in the courses really tie beautifully with the work we're doing today. So I'm just going to call those out to you so that you can continue this work on your own after we're done here. And then I'm very excited. We are going to be kicking off a workshop series called Make Money with Your Heart. And so for any of my OGs from, I would say 2022, 2023, you have seen this before. Some of you were a part of this before, but I did not do it in 2024. I did not do it in 2025, but this is the year, especially after talking to so many of you and even just like talking to people in consultations and stuff. I know that people want to see a shift in their careers. And that is something that I can really teach on. I have created so many beautiful things through my career, and I am pretty young. I'm 29. And so I feel really confident on teaching how to create a career that is an expression of your heart. And that really supports you in creating the money that you want to make and living the life that you want to live. So, we are going to be going into that over the course of several workshops. I'm thinking it will be 3, but the full schedule and curriculum will come together soon. Just mark your calendar for February 23rd from 4 to 6. That is when we will have our first call, and we will be doing those calls throughout the rest of February and maybe some into March. So get excited. I'm excited. And if you have any career related questions, or if there's anything that I can do to make sure that this workshop specifically speaks to your situation, don't hesitate to email me or, come to a coaching call and just let me know, because I want to make sure that this workshop series really, really supports you with creating your vision that you have for your career. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's create a strong and compelling vision for the year ahead. And since I know we will have a replay audience, whether you're doing this in January or in May or whenever, just think about the next 12 months of your life. So, we're going to be exploring our desires holistically. As you know, if you're, a part of this program, you know that I stand for having a balanced life. And it has really taken me a lot of focus and intentionality to create change in multiple areas of my life. And so I like to think about looking at relationships, your body, which includes your health, your fitness, your wellness, your finances, and then your career. And for today, we are going to focus on one life area. And then if we have time, maybe we can do 2, but we're definitely going to take the whole process and apply it to one life area. But then I would really encourage you to go back through and apply this process to each life area, especially if you want to make sure that you are creating like that holistic, like I think about like if your life is a book, it's like we want to write a really beautiful next chapter, not just like change a couple paragraphs, but we want to just take like the whole story and move it forward in a really balanced way. And so, if that's something that is also important to you, I would encourage you to take this whole class and run it through all the areas of your life after we are done using this one as an example. I will also say, for the sake of you being here live, if you want coaching on any specific area more than others, then you can use that area for today, and then we'll have time at the end where you can get coaching and tell me like what came up for you. And so while I'm here, you can totally use the life area where you feel like you would want my back and forth support. And then for anyone who's on the replay, you can get coached, come to a coaching call, email me, whatever you need, and I can support you based on what has come up for you in this class. Okay, so assuming that you have picked an area, we are going to start off with celebrations. And that is because we always want to look at what's going well, and then we want to look at what we want to change. Sometimes when something is not going how we want it to go, we can fall into that like mindset that nothing is working and we just want to burn it all down. But the way that we avoid that is actively acknowledging what is going well so that we can maintain it. And then we're only making changes in things that genuinely do need to shift. And so, to not burn it all down, I want you to make a list of 10 things that are going well in this area of your life. And then for each one, just take a moment to reflect, why is this going well? Like, what's helping it go well? Just again, so that you can reinforce what is actually working and so that you can have enough awareness to be able to maintain what's going well, because you not only know what it is, but you know why, and then you can act on that why consistently. So, let me know if that's clear. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. I am going to set us a timer for 5 minutes. And then if we need more time, we can take more time. But 10 things that are going well. And then for each, just like a brief reflection of why it's going well. So you're about halfway through the 5 minutes. Um, I'm making my list and I have four things that are going well, so I might need a little bit more time. Um, Let me know if you feel like more time would be helpful, but I think maybe we'll add a little bit of time. Okay, sweet. Yeah, we'll do a little more. Maybe we'll just make it 10 minutes total, and then if we finish early, then we can move on faster. But I'm not like in a rush. I gave us 2 hours for this. So we'll do 10 total, and I'll keep you posted. Okay, so we've got about 3 more minutes. All right, got about 30 seconds, so feel free to wrap up whatever thought you're on. Okay, that was 10. So, one thing that came up to share as I was going through this, actually two things. So, the first is it's very important for us to reflect on why things are going well because we don't want to start believing that the good things in our life are random or that they're like a product of chance. When we feel like things are only going well due to chance, it can feel really unsteady and like out of our control whether or not our life is going to continue to go well. And so we always want to just give ourselves the opportunity to acknowledge the root cause or as close to the root cause as we can get, but to acknowledge the cause for what is working so that we can feel secure that we can reproduce what's going well, or so that we can continue to expect things to go well because we understand why things are going well. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's another really good reason to make sure that you do this reflection. And then the other thing that came up was if you are looking at your list, because I was looking at my list and at first I was like, I don't know why specifically these things are going well. And I'm using this process for my relationships, which is an area where I spend a lot less time reflecting, especially recently, like in the past like couple months, I haven't been doing a lot of like intense reflecting on my relationships, and that's why I'm excited to do this practice with you all. But I was listing out the things that are going well, and I was like, I don't know why these things are going well, but whenever you have a question you don't know the answer, you can use this prayer. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? And what am I seeing that you're not seeing? And that will help you kind of align with spirit, the divine infinite intelligence, and just open up to having things revealed to you that are not automatically top of mind. There is a lot more on prayer and spirituality and all of that stuff in the advanced co-creation course. But that is just something that it felt right to share because that is what I did when I was like, I don't know why these things are going well. Then I was just like, okay, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? What am I seeing that you're not seeing? And then I was able to get some answers going. So let that be in your back pocket for the duration of this workshop and hopefully long after. Okay, so now that we are aware of what's going well, we want to look at three things that are not going well. And the reason I'm saying three is because we don't want to like overwhelm ourselves, but we want to just let ourselves see like what are the three top of mind things in this area that we really wish were different, and then reflect on what you wish was happening instead or how you wish this area was going instead. So I'm gonna give us, since it's only three things, I'm gonna give us 7 minutes and then we can see if that's enough time. But it's a much shorter list, so I think it should be. All right, and we are off. 7 minutes on the clock. And you can be as detailed as you want here. They say that a well-defined problem is a problem half solved. So whatever level of detail you feel called to go into is going to be really supportive here. All right, we are about halfway through the 7 minutes, so feel free to switch over and start reflecting on how you wish these things were going if you haven't already started that. All right, about one-ish minute left, a little under 1 minute left. All right, that is our timer. So we will move on to the next step. So, just to kind of make it very explicit in terms of your vision for this area of your life is to maintain or amplify what's going well while shifting what isn't going well. So we want to just be mindful of overcorrecting. Like if we start to only hyper focus on, I need to change this, I need to change this, I need to change this, and then we stop, maintaining and upholding the things that actually are going well. So it's a bit of a balancing act. But the purpose of what we just did was to have it very clear, like, these are the types of things that I want to create more of and that I want to maintain. And then these are some things that I would like to shift and see go differently. And there is a lot more to be said in terms of like, figuring out what are the different habits that are going to help you actually strike that balance of maintaining what's going well and shifting what isn't going well. But what we want to remember is that these things are not in competition with each other. You are totally capable of maintaining what is going well and shifting what isn't going well. And the key is to really think about it as expansion and growth rather than like, it's kind of like this. You are creating the capacity to hold more good things. It's not like you can only have five good things in your life. And so your five spots are already being used up and now you have to like give up one thing that's working in order to have something else go well. You can have more things going well in your life at once. That is really what I'm trying to drive home here. And so when we look at our vision, we really want to be aware that like we would like to continue certain things and we would like to grow in certain areas. And it all gets to happen simultaneously. It all gets to happen at once. I know that we are going to be having our career workshop series soon, but this often comes up with people's careers. They think that if they want to make more money, they have to be less fulfilled. Like I really used to think that, and I have so much more that I will be saying, so I don't want to like do the same workshop twice. But whatever it may be, like you might say that, in your head, well, I really want this to change and shift, but if this shifts, then this other good thing will go away. And we want to just practice opening our mind to the possibility that things can just build in a positive direction. And the key, like I said, is like building the capacity to have more things going well at once. And that is a lot of the work that we'll be doing together throughout the year. So you are in the right place and you will be supported as you do this. But just have in mind that this is the way that we want to be thinking about it. And we don't want to be convincing ourselves that we have to make unnecessary trade-offs. And we just want to be available for it to all kind of, for things to grow rather than for things to like get exchanged out. So, with all of that being said, let's translate that vision into clear, doable steps that will help you bring your vision to life. And so, what I'm going to be teaching is really focusing on shifting the areas that you want to see shift. But what you want to have in the back of your head is that as I talk about these principles and like the different things that you're going to be doing in this next part of the workshop, you want to keep in mind that you can maintain what is going well while you make these changes. And if you notice yourself feeling like, ooh, like, can I really, hit these new goals and make these adjustments while also maintaining what's going well? Just remember that that is a moment to slow down. That is a moment to be kind to yourself, to reassure yourself that you are learning how to do something new so that you can experience something new, and it will be a bit of an adjustment depending on what comes up for you throughout this process. Okay, so now we're going to create some goals. So we have a vision, and now we want to make that vision into goals. And so your vision, and I have a lot of examples, so it'll be crystal clear, but your vision, especially in terms of what would you like to shift, can get turned into a very tangible outcome that you would like to create in the next 12 months that corresponds to your vision. So, for example, if your vision is, I wish I was making more money, your goal is potentially manifest 100K in the next 12 months. 100K is just an arbitrary number, but the purpose of it is we want to have something very tangible and specific. So I have a lot of examples, like I said, but the vision is kind of the qualitative, like, or it could all be qualitative, but the vision is kind of like, this is what I wish was happening. And then the goal is, okay, how can I create an outcome that will actually move me in the direction of the life that I want? Okay, so some more examples of how to translate your vision into a goal. Your vision might be to buy a home, and then your goal might be to save up the down payment within the next 12 months. Again, these are arbitrary, but just some things to get your mind going. My career vision is to get my YouTube channel monetized. That is a big thing that I'm working towards this year. And the goal that I have is to reach 1,000 subscribers within the next 12 months. So, vision, and then what is the goal that needs to occur that will move me towards my vision? Someone might have a vision to increase their heart health and their stamina, and then their goal might be to run a 5K within the next 12 months. Someone might have the vision to get married. Their goal, if they are single, might be to get into a relationship within the next 12 months. I assume that you're clapping for me and my YouTube channel, but I'm just gonna I'm just gonna roll with it. Um, oh, yay, thank you. I appreciate it. And that reminds me too, if you want to share your vision and your goals as you're creating them into the chat, that would be awesome because obviously it's just helpful for me to know. But hopefully that this gives you a sense of like what I'm getting at. Like we have our vision, and then we think about what is one thing I can work towards and focus on for the next 12 months that will move me closer to that vision. So, what is directionally aligned with the vision that I have? And so, I'm assuming that you set a goal. But actually, I'll give everyone like a minute because I realize I don't have a slide where I specifically say set a goal. Um, so setting the goal should only take like a minute. And I'll write my goal down too. All right. Okay. So now I am assuming that you have set a goal, and I have set my goal as well. And now we will look into milestones. So the milestones are very, very important. And this is the piece that a lot of people don't do that then makes it very difficult for them to actually move towards and achieve their big 12-month goals. So based on your 12-month goal, we then want to think about what is one tangible outcome that you could create within the next 3 months that is a step along the way. So your milestone should feel 100% actionable from where you are right now. So we want to think about like where you are today, which is presumably far away from your 12-month goal. And the vision is not like I need to get all the way there as fast as possible, but we just want to think like within the next 3 months, what are some steps that I could take now that would move me forward? And I have examples. So, in terms of your milestones, before I go into examples, um, if you have a numerical milestone, so amount of money, amount of followers, anything that is a number, you can consider gradually increasing the milestones rather than just dividing it by four. So I have here, if you want to save up a 100 not a 100, yeah, a 100K down payment for a house. That is your goal for the next 12 months. You could do your milestones in this gradual way versus having each milestone be 25K. You could have your quarter one milestone be 10K, your quarter two milestone be 20K, your quarter three milestone be 30K, and your quarter four milestone be 40K. And over the course of time, you will still save up your 100K, but if right now your savings, you haven't been saving and maybe you don't have any money saved, and the idea of saving up $25,000 in 3 months feels like really intense, just start with saving $10,000 and know in your mind that you will gradually grow into the version of you who has saved up all of the money. So we really just want to think about like, where are you right now and what can you do to move yourself forward? And I'm not saying that you have to set four milestones right now. Like you could really just set one quarterly milestone for the next 3 months. But the reason I listed all four is to show that you can pick something that is a lot closer to your current reality, and then it can still all grow over the course of the year. So even if you only save 10K in this upcoming 3 months, you could still get to 100K by the end of the year. And there's a very logical process by which you could do that. But the key is think about where you are now and set something where you feel comfortable enough to take action on it. If it's so big that you're like, I don't even know where I can start, and that feels like a lot of pressure and I just can't do it, then that is a sign that you need to approach your milestones differently. So this is really good if your milestone is something numerical. And as I said, this gives you room to grow over time. And the best milestone is one that does require growth. It does require a stretch from you, but it is approachable. It's something that you can show up to and feel good about and make a couple little adjustments and start taking action. So now I've got a couple of milestone examples. So if your career vision, like mine, is to get your YouTube channel monetized, then the goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers. And the milestone, if someone had 0 subscribers, could be to reach 100 subscribers in the next 3 months. So that goes back to like this 10% thing. So if their milestone is 10% of the goal, then their milestone is to reach 100 subscribers in the next 3 months. I already have more than 100 subscribers, so that wouldn't be my milestone. But I'm thinking about someone who it's like they have not made any steps in this direction. Then you can set a milestone that's quite close to where you are, but that still requires you to make forward motion. If your health vision is to increase your stamina, your goal might be to run a 5K. Someone's milestone could be to run a 10-minute mile within the next 3 months. Again, everyone's body is different, so these are really just demonstrative and like you have to think about what feels good for you. But if you think about, a 5K and maybe you want to do it in 30 minutes, so you need to run a 10-minute mile because you don't want to be spending all day running a 5K, then maybe part of your milestone is like, I want to run a 10-minute mile. But just think about like what gets me closer to being the person that I would need to be in order to really do the goal that I have for myself. Okay, if your relationship vision is to get married, your goal might be to get into a relationship, and then your milestone might be to go on 9 dates within the next 3 months. I actually took that from some of my friends in California made a dating pact, and they decided that for the summer, they would go on 9 dates each during the summer. And it was either going to be like, it could be 9 first dates, it could be dates that are like 9 dates with the same person if you meet someone and you really hit it off. But just in an effort to get out there, they said that they would all go on 9 dates over the summer and then they reported back and like, you know, reflected on how the summer went. But that can be a fun milestone that you make for yourself to kind of get yourself in motion towards where you want to go, especially if you haven't dated in a while. Like that can be a really fun thing to do. So that is a nice example of a relationship milestone if your vision happens to be to find someone. And then let's use the example of buying a home for your financial vision. So as we said, your goal might be to save for your down payment, and your milestone might be to save your first 10% of your down payment within the next 3 months. And that asterisk is actually related to the slides that I showed you earlier, looking at how you can break your milestones down, not just dividing by 4, but how you can do them in this like tiered approach that allows you to get started where you are without feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so before we set our milestones, the final note, you are welcome to break them down even further. So I recommend definitely think about what is a 3 month milestone that you could have. But then you can even make milestones for each month or even each week. Like you can get as detailed as you want to be. This is a matter of personal preference. So the purpose of the milestones is really just to make it easy to take action. And for some people, having a milestone, like if we use the dating pact example, 9 dates in a quarter might be enough. And you can just think about like, okay, I can totally do that. Or some people might want to say, actually, it's helpful for me to think about 3 dates a month, or it's helpful for me to think about one date a week and then maybe I take off 1 week a month or whatever. But think about it however you need to think about it so that you can wrap your head around it and so that it feels doable and approachable. And the key here is to just keep tweaking it until you start to feel like, oh, I can do this. I can take an action step on this, in the coming days, in the coming weeks. It's not like so big that you're just putting it off indefinitely, right? Um, and as an example, in my business, I have a goal for the year of how many clients I want to have and how much money I want to make. And then I have milestones for every quarter, and I actually use that tiered approach that I showed you. So my quarter one milestone is 10% of my year goal. And that tends to work really well for me. And then it's super fun because by quarter four, I am making like so much more money than I was making the whole year. And it's like I'm on this nice trajectory. But I like the tiered approach. That's all I'll say there. I have my quarterly goals, my year goal, my quarterly milestones, and then I also have a milestone for every 6 weeks. So I just cut my quarterly milestone in half, and that kind of keeps me on the ball in terms of looking at like sometimes 3 months can feel like long enough that I can check out and not really focus. But if I have it every 6 weeks, then it's a little bit more of like keeping me accountable. Um, so this is what keeps me accountable now. I also used to do this monthly, so I would have a monthly milestone instead of every 6 weeks. And then as my business has changed and I have like taken on some other things like my YouTube channel and stuff, I now have my 6 week milestones and my quarterly milestones, and that feels really good to me. So all of this is to say the milestones are in the eye of the beholder, and you will know it's right for you when you can act on it. I'm going to see what my next slide is because now I'm kind of like, did I make a slide to just set the milestone? It seems like I didn't. So let's take some time to set milestones. There's a little more thinking involved with this. So I am going to be spacious and give us 5 minutes because you might want to do math or, just sit with yourself and tweak things. If you finish early, that's totally fine. But let's be spacious about this and just think about like what can we get behind. And I'm gonna put back up. Where am I? I'm gonna put this here because this is a good prompt for like how to remember what your milestone is supposed to be. And as a reminder, we're not making milestones for the whole year. We're just making an immediate milestone for now. And the only reason that I have these like milestones for the whole year as an example is so that you can see how starting where you are can still get you where you want to go. And it does not have to be evenly distributed. All right, you've got a little over a minute left. So if you are making some calculations or whatever, feel free to start to wrap things up. And remember that the key is to just feel into it. And as long as it feels like something that you can wrap your mind around, that feels like, it's directionally correct, it moves you forward, but you can still act on it today, then you are doing it right. And you've got this. And then also, just as a reminder, if 3 months feels like abstract or far away, like I was saying with the 9 dates thing, you could also break that up again into like a monthly or a weekly or every 6 weeks, whatever works for you. But just get it to the point where you're like, okay, I can act on this and I feel good about acting on this. And if you have any questions, totally let me know. Okay, so now I must skip ahead in the slides to get back to where we were. Mm. Okay, so we have milestones, and now we want to make action steps. So if you look at the milestone that you created for yourself, just take a moment, trust yourself, and brainstorm actions that you can take to either just hit your milestone directly. Like if it's like something where it's very clear to you and you're like, if I do this, it will come to pass and I will hit it, then just write those things down. And if you're like, I think this is directionally correct and this will move me closer, then go ahead and write that down too. So it's not about having all the answers unless you literally do have all the answers after doing this, which sometimes happens. But it's about saying, like, okay, what can I do from where I am now that will help me move closer to this milestone? And then remember, if you can't easily take action, like if you're like literally nothing is coming to mind, I have no idea what to do, then adjust your milestone. If it's something where you genuinely just don't know how to do something, and your first step might be, I need to learn, I need to go figure it out. So I was coaching someone recently who had never made any money before in her business, and her milestone was to make one sale. And I think she gave herself, I think it was like within a month. There was like a time frame and it was like one sale. And because she had not ever done it before, her action steps were very connected to like learning, like really like starting to understand the process of making sales. And then once she had learned, then it was like, okay, now apply what you learned. And then your action steps become much easier. So if you are at a complete impasse and you're like, I don't know what my action steps are, likely your action step is to go out and learn something. And if you feel like your milestone is appropriate in terms of like this actually is as small as I can make it, then just make your action step that you need to go get information, but don't use the information as a way to procrastinate. Like you want to make sure that you're learning and applying and learning and applying and learning and applying because that's how you're actually going to change your life. But sometimes the genuine answer is that you have to learn something. Just hold yourself accountable to acting on what you learn as soon as possible. So hopefully that makes sense. And I'm happy to talk to any specific situations in coaching or in via email, whatever works. But that is my guidance there. And let's take 5 minutes to just brain dump, brainstorm some action steps. Mm. All right. So hopefully you have done some really good brainstorming and you have an idea of some things that you can get to work doing. One piece that is not in the slides is that with the milestones, you take the action that you came up with, and I have like when we get to the part where I show you like where you can find more details within the courses, this will become even more clear. But you take the action that you can come up with. And you can also use your intuition to get inspired action steps as you go along. And so part of this is like doing what you have in mind and being committed to like using the knowledge that you already have, but then also being open and available to having spirit, the divine, God, etc., give you guidance along the way. And there's a nice like duality here, and that's when it can feel like a fun co-creation. So I'm gonna point you to where you can find more information about that soon. But just remember that like you are responsible for the knowledge that you have, of course, and I would never recommend like, not applying what you already know to do. But then if you ever feel like my knowledge isn't enough, or what if this doesn't work? Know that you can always ask for divine guidance as well, and I would really encourage you to do so. And you have the tools to do so in this program. Okay, so the last thing that we want to do to kind of like seal everything is decide when you will take these action steps over the coming days, weeks, and months. So this is kind of like one of those rules of transformation. It's not just about, you know, saying that you'll do something, but it's about holding yourself accountable. And you want to make sure that you pick a time when you can reasonably do it. Like, don't say, I'm going to do all of this tonight. And really, it's like something that actually takes a week. Like, create a reasonable implementation plan, and if you have resistance come up, either if you have resistance to making a plan, or if you are noticing that it's hard to follow through on the plan that you made, that is a sign to get coaching, and I am here for you. Implementation can be challenging, but that is really where the rubber meets the road. So we want to make sure that I'm here to support you, utilize the support so that you can actually implement your plans that you've been making. And what I will do now is I will give you just 2 minutes to look at your list of action steps and jot down like a time frame that makes sense in terms of when you can actually reasonably do these things. And then what you can do. Actually, how are we on time? Actually, no, we're pretty good on time. We've only been here an hour. How about I'll give us like 5 minutes, like a little bit longer, and if you want to actually pull up a calendar and look like when can I do this, and you can schedule some stuff just so that you are creating that agreement with yourself that really acknowledges like I am going to move in this direction. I will have much more to say on this when we are doing the workshop series on creating your dream career, but the most powerful thing that you can do is set an intention and follow through. And the more that you do that, the more you show yourself that you can trust yourself. So let's take 5 minutes to really like plan out when we're going to do the things that we wrote down. If you need more time, you can let me know, but this is a really, really important step. So let's give it the time that it deserves. And I will let you know when the 5 minutes are up. All right, just letting you know you're about halfway through the 5 minutes. Oh, and one thing I'm asking myself too is like, how can I make this fun? So there is a particular thing that I have on my list that's like 3 hours long, and I'm like, okay, how can I make this fun? And then I was just thinking, okay, I can like get takeout and like make it like a little night. And now I'm already more excited to do it. So as you're planning when you'll do the thing, also think about like, can you either stack it with a habit that you really love, or can you just like plan it as something that's like special and intentional, not just like a chore that you have to check off. And with that, we only have 30 seconds left. So I'm going to be quiet and I'll let you know when the time is officially up. Okay, so hopefully you have made some plans and made them fun, and you can definitely revisit this if you need more time. For now, I just want to let you know where you can kind of expand on this within the curriculum. So, for details on getting your inspired action using your intuition, there's a two-part module called Balancing Action and Surrender inside the Advanced Co-Creation course. And even though it is called advanced co-creation, you are welcome to dig into it no matter where you are in your manifestation journey. The reason that this course is advanced is because we as humans tend to have um, complicated relationships with spirituality and philosophy. And the advanced co-creation is really the most like spiritual of the courses. And each course is kind of in sequence by the course that is like the most cerebral and the least spiritual, up through the one that is the most spiritual and the least cerebral. And so do with that what you will, but you are welcome to dive into the balancing action and surrender module whenever you want to, and that will give you guidance on how to get inspired action using your intuition. I want to double check if there's anything else there. But yeah, definitely start there. And there's a really good like meditation and breath work practice in there that will just help you connect to your intuition and generate ideas. And that is like really beautiful work. And so that's a good one. And then also, as you are moving towards your milestone, there's a process that I teach inside the module called Building a Bridge to Your Future Self. And that is inside of the Manifestation for Sensitive Souls course. And that really guides you through the process of taking action, seeing what happens. So, get results doesn't always mean that you automatically achieve your milestone. Get results is like, this is the result. Like I drop this pen and it falls into this hand. Like I do something and then something else happens. So take action, see what happens, and then make adjustments as needed. And I teach you how to know what those adjustments should be inside of that. I was going to say that course, inside of that module, building a bridge to your future self. So those are some good places to go after this to support yourself in really implementing everything that we talked about today. So, with that, I am really open to hearing like how this was, if anything came up, and I'm also available to do some coaching if there are questions or if there's anything that I can be supportive on.
Yeah, thank you. This has been really great. I already started putting into my planner like little actions and when I'll take it next week.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so and I plan to do more of that. I think one thing um that I might be a little bit confused about is like you mentioned like for example, okay, 100K goal and then the milestones by quarter can be less than that in order for it to feel actionable and doable. So I think sometimes I do get confused about like, is this too small of a goal? Do I like put the goal for a big one, but then the milestones are smaller? Or yeah, I don't know if you are able to say more on that.
yes, totally. So I'm gonna go back to that slide. And then we can also talk about your specific thing just to make sure that I'm helping you. Okay. So this is the slide where I'm talking about milestones in terms of 100K, but can be applied to any number. And if you add up all these numbers, it still adds up to 100. It's just a matter of like, you don't have to do 25 every quarter in order to get 100. You can get to 100 in a whole variety of ways. And so this is a way that you can think about it so that you are making steps now that feel good now, but you know that as you grow, the goal will grow, or as you grow, the milestone will grow. Um, does that clarify, or do you still have specific questions? Because I'm also happy to talk about like what your particular goal is.
I think that does clarify. I think like for example, my goal for it's like, okay, if I get 100 more followers on IG, that I would be happy with that.
Mhm.
And I wonder, is that too small? But I'm also someone who's never really had an IG before, and I would want to like I feel like there's a lot of reconnecting with people that I haven't done with people in a while, and then also finding my own balance in terms of what I want my relationship slash professional relationship with IG to be like politically and so on.
Mhm.
So part of me is like, that feels good. Like I would be satisfied, but then I wonder, oh, is it too small of a goal? And because it's too small, I won't put in enough
Mhm.
effort to, get to a better place, if that makes sense.
Definitely makes sense. So for actually, I have a follow-up question, but that totally makes sense. I see what you're saying. Um, do you have something where you kind of feel like if I do this, I will automatically get followers? Like for me with YouTube in the beginning, like last year was really my year of learning, like what actually creates subscribers for me. And now I know for me, it was like with the short form video, if I post 20 shorts a month, I will probably get like at least 20 subscribers a month. And for me, I can see that's like reliable and predictable. And having a goal around creating subscribers feels really easy for me because I know exactly what I need to do. Do you feel that way with Instagram? Like if I do this, I will have new people follow me?
I don't think I know that yet. I feel like I do have to, there's like a learning curve for me, and I had signed up for some like IG or social media marketing thing that I haven't yet listened to.
Mm.
But I think that would be like a step is figuring out like what do people respond to of mine, and what is my rhythm that I should shoot for.
Yeah. Okay. So that kind of influences what I'm going to say next. So because you are in the phase of like learning what actually moves the needle for you, I would say there's nothing wrong with having a small goal as long as, like you said, as long as you are still willing to show up for it, knowing that part of the purpose of this goal is to learn what works and what doesn't work. So if you get to the point where you have created 100 followers in a very reliable way where you're like, I know exactly how I did this and I could do it again, then next year you might say, I want 1,000 followers because I know how to do 100 and I can reliably do 100. So now I can do 1,000 and I know exactly what that would have to look like. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and that is very helpful
Okay,
too.
cool. Yeah, as long as again, like for you have to know for yourself, like am I gonna be motivated? Like if you're making your milestones, is your goal 100 for 2026?
Yeah, so I wondered, like, is that too small? Um,
Well,
I
oh, go ahead.
I think like I have a lot of goals, and so that's why sometimes I get like a little overwhelmed. So I wanted to like stay in that balance as you recommended of like
Hmm.
what feels comfortable and actionable.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely don't think it's too small. Also, there's always like you just hit it early. Like if you're like I want 100 in 2026 and then you apply yourself and you do the things that you know to do, maybe you hit it in June, and that would be fun. So, it's not like the goal is ever going to be like limiting you, but I think what you said is right. If it's so small that you are brushing it off and you're like, this isn't worth my time or like whatever it is, then that is where we want to pay attention. But if you are willing to show up and learn and like apply yourself and grow and use this as an opportunity for you to get to the point where you're like, I got 100 and I know I could do it again if I needed to, then like that's perfect. And that's going to be a building block for you to grow to whatever other number you want to grow to in the future. But again, it's just like how you choose to think about it. Does that make sense?
That that does make sense and it's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad. And I'm seeing the idea of hitting it early resonated. Yeah, that totally happens. Like sometimes in my head, I'm like, I would really love, um, like I can think about a time when I was like, I really, really want a 10K month, a 10K month, a 10K month. And I was just putting out this like 10K month goal, 10K month. And sometimes it would be like 8K or 6K or whatever, but it wouldn't actually be 10. And then it was like 15. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess it's just about like remembering that the goal is not it's not to constrict you, it's just to remind you to keep moving in the direction that you want to go. And it would be awesome if you were like, actually, I got this Instagram thing down, or like you made a super viral post and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I actually have 100 new subscribers in 3 months. Like that could be cool. And that is available. Okay, that is all I had for us. How are you feeling? Are you feeling like you could do this unguided if for the rest of the areas of your life?
So I think like I took a lot of notes. So I think I can pursue that and kind of flesh things out.
Cool. And you will also have this video to follow along with, and you can always email me. But I'm really happy that we taught this. This was one of those things that I was like, we already have manifestation for sensitive souls, which is a very good starting place. But we don't have a class that really breaks down like the intricacies of creating a goal, creating a milestone, like all of that. And so I'm really happy that we're starting the year this way and that everyone who comes into Moody and Magnetic in the future will also have this. And then what's next? We have our regular coaching call on Monday the 19th. So we're not meeting tomorrow because we met today, but we will meet on the 19th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for regular coaching. Um, Make Money with Your Heart is our course on manifesting your dream career, and I'm so excited for that one. And that begins on February 23rd. And then you can always email me and get email coaching. Just make sure the subject line of your email is Moody and Magnetic Coaching so that I know, to pay close attention to that email. And I will always get back to you within a couple of days. I love you so much. I'm really grateful that you are here, and I am so excited to be supporting you on this journey. Mwah. Take good care.
Thank you so much. Have a great week.
You too.